McDumbhead. Welcome in the DNVR Avalanche pregame show. I don't think we're actually presented by them, but that's okay. We are Bailey Curtis and Rudo joining you for Avs versus Oilers. It's a Canadian team. I thought Alberta was Mountain Time.
They are.
So why is this an 8 o'clock start?
Asking the right questions here that some people aren't, apparently.
I don't like 8 o'clock starts,
No.
all right?
I feel like 7 o'clock's like that sweet spot.
Yeah,
where
7
like I
o'clock
can get
local.
home at a reasonable time for, hockey people.
Yeah.
And like I can, wake up at my normal time tomorrow and feel fine, as opposed to getting home late and everything being ruined.
7 o'clock local. If the puck drop is in the Mountain Time Zone, it should start at 7 o'clock Mountain. That's where I'm at with it. Maybe I'm just a big baby about it, though. Tonight, we get to say this almost every night because we follow the Colorado Avalanche, and we're very lucky to say we have some of the best players in the world that we get to watch. But it really is a clash of the Titans night with McDavid and Draisaitl on the Edmonton side. MacKinnon, Makar, however you want to shake out that biscuit on the Avs side. Are we expecting a fun game?
I'm expecting a high-scoring game. I don't know about fun.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. High scoring can be fun.
It can be, depending on which side of it you're on.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely a star-studded matchup for sure. These games are some of my favorite to watch because it truly is like, take the depth out of it, like best on best.
Yep.
For the most part.
We'll get some of that tonight, I expect, fully. And
absolutely.
we'll see how it shakes out exactly, but obviously the title card is Nathan MacKinnon versus Connor McDavid. Bailey, let me ask you. Is Connor McDavid a better player than Nathan MacKinnon?
Yes. Yeah. As biased as I want to be in saying Nathan MacKinnon is the best player of all time, or at least currently. I cannot say that. Connor McDavid has earned his flowers for a reason.
Yep.
I feel like that's really all I can say on that.
Is Connor McDavid a better player than Cale Makar?
Oh, you're talking about two generational talents in their own right.
Maybe.
This is where you get scoring from everywhere, I think. And the way that Connor McDavid does it is a way that very few other players do. I feel like there's not many players who do things the way Cale Makar does.
I would agree.
Every given night.
It's very difficult to compare.
Yes.
And I don't think there's necessarily a wrong answer when it comes to is McDavid or Cale Makar the guy. Mm-hmm. Honestly, yes, McDavid is a better player than Nathan MacKinnon across the course of their careers, but on any given night, MacKinnon can absolutely be the best player in the world.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. I mean, if you're looking at statistics right now, yes, Connor McDavid's leading in points, but I'm pretty sure Nathan MacKinnon has him beating goals.
If we're looking at that right now, I guess Macklin Celebrini is the best player in the world based on point totals.
Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini. Who'd have thunk it?
The new generation is here. That is a fair point. Nathan MacKinnon does have a cup, and Connor McDavid doesn't, but a cup is absolutely a team award, not an individual one. So
this is true.
I don't know how you exactly shake out that one. It's the way I like to think about these games is Nathan MacKinnon and Connor McDavid, you need to match each other, right? Mm-hmm. When both sides have that level of high-end talent, you're usually looking at your bottom six. Your depth guys are like, just don't lose the game. I think when you look at your top six, your best guys, you're saying, not necessarily just don't lose the game, but you have to keep up. you can't get outdone by the other players' top teams.
And that's where, situations like this are really weird too, because it's hard to know exactly, what numbers are going to look like at the end of the game.
Yep.
We've seen in multiple games so far where Jared Bednar is significantly shortened the bench. So you're maybe not seeing some of those players where you're like, just don't lose the game for us. Like just do your job, keep the puck out of the net. Like you don't have to be fancy, but just do your job. And I'm wondering if that's the kind of situation we're going to get here tonight, where we're maybe seeing those bottom six guys get a little bit of shortened time on ice just to see the battling out of these two top six cores.
I hope not.
Especially
given this is the first game of a back-to-back for the Avs.
Yeah.
But would not be surprised if it does happen. For what it's worth, Gavin Brindley expected back today. So maybe that's a way to get a couple of extra minutes out of your fourth line. Right. A guy that Bednar was at least playing, 8-9 minutes a night instead of 4 or 5. Maybe you can find a little bit of something there. I think it'll be an interesting conversation, though, because we may well see that go the way you were talking about it, being Nathan MacKinnon and Marty Natchez. We're going to ride or die and win or lose with those guys. But when I look at the depth of these two teams, I think the Avs is better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Without a doubt. I was going through stats earlier today for these two top teams and just seeing the contributions from, the Avalanche down, all 4 lines versus Sam Malinsky being in the top 10 in scoring for the Avalanche. Like that's kind of a crazy
bit of a difference,
stat to think about versus, an Oilers where you're getting some contribution from that second pairing. You're getting some contribution from that third line, from one guy on that third line. But otherwise, like it's mostly their top 6 and their top pair doing a lot of that heavy lifting. So that's where the Avalanche, I think, have a heavy advantage here is you can roll out, I think, all of these lines and expect production of some sort.
Certainly, if not production quality play. I would put it to you that way. We do have our stat pack here to get to, which I do think should exemplify a little bit of that. For as high octane as the Oilers absolutely are, their numbers are a bit interesting this year. They have a negative goal differential. Technically, they don't. It's actually a 0 goal differential, and 2 of those goals are shootout losses, which is silly. But compared to the Avs plus 13, it's not like they're dropping big numbers on teams all that often this year. Their possession is middle of the road compared to the Avs' dominant possession of all season. Their power play is, as always, amazing with the talent Edmonton has. It's really, really good. But if you can avoid the power play, Edmonton's shooting percentage at 5-on-5 is one of the worst in the league. You think the Avs are struggling to finish this year? Go watch the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
And then one of the worst in the league at generating high-danger chances, too. So at 5-on-5, Edmonton really hasn't put it together this year in the way I think you'd expect. And, they've had slow starts for the last couple of years, so maybe this is the norm for them. But this feels like a team where the Avs should be able to make a little bit of hay at 5-on-5.
Oh, absolutely. Finishing is maybe still an issue, but it's something they've improved.
Yeah,
I think over the last few games. It makes you wonder seeing some of those numbers, how much more dangerous the Oilers would be if they could get some of those shots to get towards the net. They are a scary team in their own right, but this, again, as you said, feels like a game that the Avalanche should have in hand with the way that they're creating chances, the way that the finishing is starting to go for them, the way that the power play is kind of, in a way starting to figure things out.
It's looked better for sure.
Absolutely. So that's if you can keep this game 5-on-5, this is, this seems like a game the Avalanche have in hand. That special teams battle, though, is going to be very interesting for me. You're talking about one of the best power plays in the league versus one of the best penalty kills.
I mean, as good as the Avs penalty kill has been, I think I would prefer just don't take any penalties in this game.
How realistic is that?
I know.
I mean, the last
few. Keep it to like 2. Don't take 5 or 6. All right.
That's wishful thinking.
Maybe it might be. If they take 6, I bet the Edmonton Oilers score at least 1, maybe 2,
maybe,
maybe more. But I don't need to get into that. The other side of this, you have the Mick versus Mac face off up front. In net, you have wood versus skin. That being Wedgwood specifically.
Yes.
Bailey, I don't think you and I are all that surprised that Wedgwood is in net for this game, but the people want Blackwood.
Yeah, it's a really fine line with this because if Mackenzie Blackwood is good enough to back up, theoretically he should be good enough to occupy the crease, especially for a team like this. I mean, I can say this till I'm blue in the face. I disagree with Bednar's deployment of the goaltenders in this because you're expecting to see Blackwood tomorrow, right?
I would be shocked if you don't see Blackwood play against Vancouver, barring like if he comes in tonight or something crazy. But.
Right. So I don't know. My thought here, Wedgwood's playing, fine hockey. I'm not necessarily mad at it. There are a couple things that are maybe, scare me a little bit. But overall, he's playing decent hockey, and that in turn takes a lot of the pressure off of Mackenzie Blackwood to make the complete return that we're eventually expecting later on in the season. I think if we're not getting that now, and we're still seeing this team win hockey games, that's
it's fine.
I'm not mad at that as long as your goaltender is doing your job in any given night. Yeah, it sucks that we're not seeing Blackwood do that for the team, but a win is a win.
Win is always a win. And the Avs have done a better job of that than Edmonton this year when it comes down to winning games. You talked about the finishing a little bit earlier. The Avs finishing has gotten better over the last couple of games. It's still not great in the NHL. And you're going up against a goaltender that is notorious for being a little bit leaky when it comes to Stuart Skinner. Is this an opportunity for the Avs to continue taking steps in that direction? You said it might be a high-scoring game. Is it? I don't want to call it a requirement, but is the expectation that the Avs should put up a pretty decent number tonight?
Expectation should always be there, regardless of who is in net. But
fair.
These teams tend to kind of get in a habit of getting goals past each other. I think this game is not going to be any different. If the Avalanche are trending upward, it should continue to do so, especially against a goaltender like Stuart Skinner, who's maybe not having, the best kind of
great. Sub 900 save percentage so far this year.
This ideally should be a situation where the Avalanche can continue to trend positively in that regard.
I hope so. Not that I don't believe in the Avs defense. They have, as far as metrics are concerned, one of the better defenses in the league. But, when Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are coming down on you, you're going to give up a couple. The other side of this, though, is Edmonton's defense as well. Evan Bouchard maybe hasn't been off to the best season as far as especially the defensive side of the puck is concerned with him. Edmonton's defense as a whole doesn't feel awesome this year. We think the Avs have the depth advantage. Should they legitimately have the advantage with their defensive core as well?
Absolutely. Even with the delayed return of Samuel Girard, there was some thought that he might be making a return this weekend.
Not quite ready.
Did not travel with the team. And I don't know. I think with the way that this defense is playing so far, yes, we've talked consistently about that hole on the left side, but they're playing well. And we talked about some of that depth with Malinsky hopping in that scoring in the top 10 in scoring for the team. I think that's definitely not something to shy away from or gloss over. There's significant contributions from this blue line that I think put it over the top when compared to the other side of things.
Yeah, I think Edmonton, look, it's hard to argue with 2 Cup Finals appearances in the last 2 years, even if they did come up short in those Cup Finals.
Yeah.
But I do think there are some holes in this Edmonton team that maybe weren't present in previous years. Again, it could just be a cold start. We saw a couple years ago they had the worst start in the NHL, and then were fine when like all their games for the rest of the season, basically. So I don't sleep on them. Certainly, you cannot think this team is going to be an easy one if you're the Colorado Avalanche, but there are definitely some advantages you should be able to work at in this game.
No, absolutely. And when depth is the biggest one for me too, especially looking at the lineup that Edmonton's rolling out tonight. You've got your 2 best players playing on a line together they've gotten into a habit of splitting them up too. So that's 3 other lines that are maybe not benefiting from having a Draisaitl on them, because for a fact McDavid's not getting moved down.
Nope.
But that should be something that the Avalanche can exploit here. Take advantage of that lack of contribution from some of those bottom 6 guys, from some of that defense that they're rolling out. This ideally should be a situation that the Avs can take advantage of here.
It should be. I do think one major key to that, though, is Cale Makar. And it's not, we're not talking about an elephant in the room here. This isn't like any real concerns that I have long term, but the last 2 games, you have not gotten Cale Makar's best.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination. Does 3 days off help that? Or does Makar have to stew in it for those 3 days?
Rest versus rust is a conversation that I never know how it's going to go.
Sure.
For this team. You could be getting the worst, you could be getting the best. I think for a guy like Cale Makar, who's playing close to 28 minutes night in, night out, this ideally should be a good thing for him to come into this weekend with.
Yeah.
A guy you're expecting to do the same thing tonight. So ideally, Cale Makar has no excuse to not be Cale Makar tonight.
I agree. The best players in the world should bring the best out of you, right? If you're Cale, not saying his assignment is easy. He's going to have a lot of work trying to stop McDavid and Draisaitl tonight, more than maybe offensively. But the expectations of a guy like that are, even then, he needs to do it on both ends.
And we talk all the time about measuring stick games for this team.
Yep.
And they've played a lot of them recently. Maybe won't get as many here in the next couple weeks.
Thankfully.
Which is a good or bad thing, depending on how you look at.
I want some easy game. I mean, they need to win regardless.
Right. But for a situation like this, yes, the Edmonton Oilers may be, in the bottom, half of the league currently, but this is still a team with some top end talent. This is a team that Cale Makar should be looking at and saying, this is best on best hockey, and I need to prove that I fit into that conversation.
Yeah. You got to prove it every night in the NHL. I think that's definitely a fair statement. When you look at these 3 days off, I do think there's an interesting conversation for the Avs, not just the rest versus rust thing, but so far this year, the Avs really have not had a lot of practice time. Mm-hmm. It's been a lot of a day off because of travel, or a day off because they just played a back-to-back, things like that. They've gotten a few legitimate practices in this 3-day stretch. Should that be an indicator that, hey, maybe some of these mistakes we've seen, especially on the defensive side, should those be cleaned up tonight?
Ideally. I mean, you've had some situations not only where you're on the ice, working that out in game scenarios, but you've got more time to sit in front of a TV for film. You've got some time to go through some of the bigger mistakes that this team has made that maybe has led to some not so positive results. Points. What could we have done differently to make it 2? Things like that. So ideally, this is something, you're going into these 2 games ideally having talked about that and turned that around. But again, I feel like you can't have that conversation without having the rest versus rust. This is a very unique situation. Something that the Oilers are actually dealing with here as well. They've also had a 3-day break. So it's really going to be who can find their legs sooner. Yeah.
That conversation is exactly my next topic. Bailey is from North Carolina, by the way. The sticker gave her away.
Yes, sorry.
So, the Avs got to spend these 3 days sitting at the top of the NHL. Mm-hmm. And teams lost in the right ways that it shaked out that the Avs are still at the top of the NHL in this game. Right now, this second, the Edmonton Oilers, if the season ended, would be out of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Are we expecting some desperation from Edmonton, or is this a team that we've talked about? We know they have slow starts and they shouldn't be too worried.
I'm not worried about this, and I have a feeling they are not either. Yes, you'd like to see a little bit more production down the entire lineup, but the 2 guys that you need to perform are doing so. I think they're just trying to find a way to find that juice from the rest of the team. Obviously, having a goaltender who isn't as leaky as Stuart Skinner tends to be
they keep going back to him. I don't know what to tell you on that one.
It's interesting. But no, this is a team that knows they have what it takes. This is also a team that I think down the road, if it doesn't get fixed, get a little desperate because of the deal that Connor McDavid did sign.
True.
this is a deal that he signed with the idea
Win
in
now.
mind that
Yeah.
you have this amount of time to give me a good team to go and win a cup with. If you don't, there are some more serious conversations to be had. And if I'm the Edmonton front office, that scares the you-know-what out of me. And so right now, I don't think they're as worried as they may be if we were, at game 40
games, yeah.
50, and they're still at this
a
point.
500 team, and they're like,
Yeah.
this is great.
Yeah. So that's where I'm, I wouldn't be worried if I were them, but this is also, a really good team for them to kind of measure themselves up against and saying, hey, can we break this Avalanche team? Can we get around the exceptional way they've been playing and prove that we are the team that we want to be?
I am curious. The defensive landscape of the NHL as far as individual players is interesting this year. Cale Makar has gotten off to this big lead on a number of other defensemen. You have some new risers. I wouldn't say new, but Lane Hudson is only in his second year and looks great.
Right.
Some other guys that you would have in that upper echelon. Quinn Hughes has been hurt some this year, so he hasn't really gotten up there. Miro Heiskanen has kind of had a weird year in Dallas. Mm-hmm. Where does Evan Bouchard fall in that list for you? Should he be a guy in the upper echelon of NHL defensemen, or was that kind of a one-hit wonder that has fallen off?
I lean more toward the latter.
Okay.
Though I wouldn't be surprised if this is a guy who's looking at this team saying, we have a Connor McDavid, we have a Leon Draisaitl, we need a good blue line to back that up, and I believe I can be that guy. Again, I think a lot of it comes down to finding that juice, and he hasn't situationally gotten there again, but I think he's a player who's capable.
Sure.
Of it.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Capable. Yeah.
Don't know on the defensive side sometimes with him, I wonder, but
I feel like every player has that moment in their careers.
Sure.
It's kind of like, I don't know where I stand with this. So.
Fair enough. Defense is hard, it turns out.
Really? Wouldn't have guessed.
Avs and Edmonton, I don't know. I've never felt like there's really been bad blood between these two teams. I know they've played in the playoffs plenty of times, and even back in the 1.0 era, not the one time they played in this era, the Avs smoked them, so it is what it is. But I don't know that I expect any chippiness tonight. The Avs have been a more physical team in that regard this year, but I'm more with Bailey on this one. I think it's going to be open the engines up and speed race this one.
This is a matchup that has two very, you get some chippiness out of some of these guys every so often, but for the most part goes into games like this in a kind of mature fashion, I would say. The expectation is that your top guys can do the job, your goaltender can do his job, and the game plays out the way that it does. I don't think that this is a situation where you're seeing teams kind of stall and things get out of hand because of that. I don't know. That's generally how I tend to look at a matchup like this.
Yeah, you can never discount it, like you said. If one team blows the other out, someone always gets chippy, right?
Right.
But yeah, I think saying they approach it in a mature way is accurate. These are not teams that, even with the Avs uptick in physicality or whatever you want to call it this year, I think these are teams that want to play hockey in its purest form if they can help it.
I think these are two teams that realize that they're on the pedestals that they are for a reason. I mean, Edmonton, again, standings aside, has some elite talent.
No one's sleeping on them. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So they're on the pedestal that they are, on the soapbox, whatever you want to call it, that they are for a reason. Like, they have good players that have elite skill. And I think when you got players like that on your team, it's hard to go into a matchup where you're playing, a very similar situation and going into it saying, no, we're gonna take this physicality and take it up like 5 notches. Like, this is a team that wants to show off their skill, and they don't really have time for anything else.
I'm down for nothing else but that. So hopefully we see some of that tonight. Bailey, based on that, bust out your crystal ball for me. Give me a name. Give me a score.
Give me 6-4.
Ooh, that is high scoring. All right. I'm down.
Goal scorer. I want to see Ross Colton. get back
I'm
on the
also
board
down
tonight.
for that.
Yeah.
A good option. You'd love it from your second line some for sure.
Yeah.
Not that they have been producing well.
A second
rather,
line
I
goal
should
in
say.
general would be great.
Always good.
But if I'm going to go for a player specifically, give me Ross Golton.
I'm down.
Getting on the score sheet
Golifson's had a few. I mean, I guess Colton scored the other night too, technically. But more for Golifson, more for Golton. I'm in for that. I am going to go 4-1.
Okay.
I want to see the Avs give themselves an easy front half of a back-to-back.
Okay.
That's all I really want. I don't know that I actually believe in that score, but that's what I'm going with. And then I'm going even deeper down the lineup. I'm taking Jack Drury for the goal on this one. I do think if it does end up in a close game, that third line really could be the difference for the Avs. Yeah. I want to see that be a difference maker again for them.
Yeah.
We do have more than just that, though. We can get into my pregame picks presented by Bet365, where things are, of course, never ordinary. I did take the Jack Drury goal on there. It's plus 650 anytime. I took the Avs to cover, though, plus 200. Actually, pretty decent money on the cover. And then I took the Makar breakout, too. I think it's a multi-point night for Cale Makar. I think you're going to see the best of him tonight, like we were talking about. The best breeds the best playing up to that level, the same way sometimes we get frustrated with the Avs playing down to teams' levels. Level it up for this game. Let's see what you got, Cale.
He could use a night like that.
Yeah.
After the last couple he's
Feels
had.
a little due for one like that, I think. So maybe it's Cale Makar's time. Whatever you do, make sure you put your gambling in with Bet365. And when you do gamble with them, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Looks like it's a pretty high scoring picks in the chat. I saw 6-5, 4-2, 5-3s. Yeah, that's a lot of goals. It's a lot of goals, but I'm here for it. I know I picked a lower scoring one than that, but a lot of goals are fun as long as the Avs get some.
If the Avs are on the right side of it, a lot of goals, maybe not a great night for Scott Wedgwood, but a lot of goals is always something to celebrate if you're on the right side of it.
Do we think we'll see some sneaky coaching from Edmonton in this one with the last change on home ice, or do you think they're comfortable going McDavid into the Avs top guys?
I think Knobloch has a very similar mindset to Bednar in some ways, saying you win or lose with your best guys.
Yep.
I think that's what we see tonight. You're looking, again, best on best hockey in some ways. I think you get that out of both coaches here tonight. I'm hoping, again, since it's a weird situation for the Avalanche being on the first game of a back-to-back, I'm hoping we see a lot more depth deployment from Jared Bednar, but what I hope and what I expect.
Two different things.
Very different things. No, I expect to see a lot of best on best time on ice here tonight.
I think you're right. I think that's just the reality that you're up to in this game. I hope this game doesn't go to overtime.
Oh, God.
Not even.
It's already a late start.
I would like to get home and have my review done before 5 a.m.
If I had to pick a key for the game, it's because the Avalanche are playing a team that have gotten a lot of overtime wins. They've had a lot of success in overtime.
McDavid and Draisaitl adds up to good overtime.
It's weird how that translates for two also very good players. But no, if the Avalanche can avoid overtime tonight, I think it's a game that they can have in the bag.
I hope so. I hope we're saying that at the end of the game. We'll have to see what happens in the actual game. Any final thoughts here, Bailey, before we head over to the watch along?
I got nothing.
Cool. We'll get out of here. We appreciate all y'all hanging out. Come join us for the watch along. Michael will be on new emojis in the chat that you guys can throw down when, good things happen. And then, of course, join us for the post game if you're a late night owl like we are, to break it all down no matter what happens. We appreciate y'all. This has been the DNVR Avalanche pregame show. We'll see you in a few minutes.
We all silly like the mayor.